Welcome to a behind the scenes of Survivor Tocantins. One of the most recognizable aspects of our show is the title sequence. That's the very beginning of the show when you first see the survivors and you hear that great music and you remind yourself, oh yeah, Survivor's on the air again. We're going to give you a tour of how those are put together, and it all starts with the shooting of the survivors, capturing all those images that you see. And that is Scott Duncan, world-renowned photographer who's been with us since season 1. How did the first Open even come into being?
Mark had the show idea, it was being created, and I want to be on board this show. This sounds great. This sounds amazing. And I went to Mark and I said, Mark, I will create the main title, opening sequence. When your show opens up, it's going to have energy, power, passion, emotion, and just translate what the entire show encompasses.
Now, I've been watching you shoot out here today. The rain was pouring down. The people are in the water. You look like you were having the time of your life.
I have fun, yes. The rain, the atmosphere, the event, the challenge, the passion from the people, the energy, and just I'm shooting it in almost a sports cinematography way of just moments of breath going up and underwater, breathing, so you can almost feel what it might be like to be one of the survivors out there, struggling, surviving to make it. But I only have 60 seconds, so every frame truly counts.
Duncan, where are you heading now?
Howdy. We are packing. We're rolling to western Brazil into the lower Pantanal, Campo Grande region. More rivers, wildlife, continue the tour of adventure for the Open. So now we're on the boat adventure. We got Eb, Miguel. Just in case he takes me under, I'm ready. I have 60 seconds to visually entertain, show the high-level production value, show challenges, contestants, wildlife, landscapes, art department props, show two teams, show persons in action, surviving, and really give the full wraparound expression of what the whole show is about. Our sprinter is packed. 6 boat trips, 30 rolls of film, killer shots all around. We're ready to move on. One thing we have to deal with tons are logistics. We're traveling with 26 cases of equipment and 6 cameras as logistics, and working with the locals, organizing, planning. As much as you plan, there's like the secret magic unknown that gets tossed into the mix of, oh, what are you talking about? We can't take that luggage on this plane like we had last night prior to the flights. And it's like, oh, you can each take 1 bag. And like, well, we have 25. And he's like, well, we can take one of those over to the cargo department. And we're like, no. So you work those things out. We flew all night, drove, flat tire, ran out of gas, changed cars, 3 plane rides, 3 cities. 3 a.m. we arrived, now we're up in the morning, hit Iguazu Falls, ready for action.
I think the cartoon drawing is right, we're in the right space. That little guy standing there is going to be me. I think we made it. I think this is it. A lot of water here. Here we're going to do aerials over the waterfalls in Iguazu, and I think it'll be really nice. It's a wrap on that one. Epic shots all over the place. Good stuff. 26 cases are ready to go right back there. Main title, Survivor 18, Brazil, wrap.
Duncan. How'd it go? You're back?
Outstanding. The trip was amazing. Captured everything we needed. Waterfalls, animals, landscapes. Got the whole puzzle together. It's going to be a good one. Heading back to LA now to cut it up and make the magic happen.
All right, well, now you have a little more insight into your favorite show and how it all goes together. Hope you've enjoyed this behind the scenes Survivor Tocantins. And if you want to watch the Open come together in the edit room, check out part 2 of Survivor Tocantins behind the scenes. In part 1 of Survivor Tocantins behind the scenes, we saw Scott Duncan shooting film for the main title. Now keep watching as the process moves to LA. Well, what happens next is we are back home, thank you, in Los Angeles. These are Mark Burnett production offices behind me. No, they're not terribly exciting to look at, but a lot of magic happens inside them. Okay, so we have all the footage from Scott Duncan. Russ Landau does the music for the main titles. That is the next step in this process, and for that, we have to travel to Topanga Canyon.
Hi, I'm Russ Landau, and I write music for Survivor. I wrote the theme to Survivor. And this is my Topanga Canyon studio. One of my jobs that I get to do for each season is to recreate the theme to represent the geographic location where Survivor is made. When I can, I do travel to location to record all that, the ancient music. And, I've been to China and Kenya and the Amazon and Pearl Islands and Australia. I like to think that I'm one of the luckiest TV composers around. And we have to keep some of the main elements of the original theme, but we have to have the underpinnings changed. So I come up with various grooves here. This is sort of a bossa groove. So what I'm going to do now is I'll start adding the various elements of this in on top, and you'll see how it all fits together. Once the main title is prepared like this, it has to go back to the producers for their approval, and that goes over to our main title editor, Sean Foley.
Sean, you've been building these opens for Survivor from the beginning. Tell us your process. You get everything put in your lap, and what do you do?
Well, typically Scott shoots anywhere from 12 to 15 hours of film for the main title. From that 12 hours, we have to come up with a minute that sort of introduces everybody, sets up the landscape, the tribal influences of the area, if there are any, and then any sort of urgency and or danger that might be present for the survivors during that time.
We have 16, 18, sometimes 20 people, and you have to develop their character in 2 or 3 shots. How do you do that?
Scott spends a lot of time shooting in a variety of environments out on Survivor. Emotionally, with each character, you try to find a range of impact. So in 60 seconds, we try to capture a little bit of all of the things that they do, from surviving the environment to competing in challenges to really surviving one another.
Looking at a few seconds of this, where are you in the process?
This is version 2, which is probably the one that will air.
Really? So this is pretty close.
This is pretty close. Our executives have seen it and they're happy. Once they're happy, I'm happy.
Something else to keep in mind is that when Survivor premiered 9 years ago, it was this crazy idea of putting people out on an island. Sean, how did that impact you when you knew you had this brand new world in which to build and open?
Well, the beauty at the beginning of Survivor was that we had no idea how wildly popular it would be. We just enjoyed it. We were out there, we knew it was something special, we were having a great time working on it, and so we hoped that that would translate, but you never really knew.
I knew.
I'd love to say I do, but I just hoped.
How do you guys keep it fresh and keep it the same at the same time?
There's always something new that reveals itself. For Scott, it's the environment. He always finds something in this new place that is fantastic. He figures out what it is, and then he goes out and he finds it and he captures it through the lens. For Russ, he looks at the musical and cultural influences, and he takes those things and he folds them into his work so that those textures come to life musically. And truthfully, I draw a lot of my inspiration from then. What Scott captures and what Russ creates sort of influence my choices. And from my perspective, I take all those things and try to create one thing that represents all of our points of view.
All right, so there you have it. The 3 main people involved in the opening: Scott Duncan, Russ Landau, Sean Foley. All 3 highly regarded in their field. This is not their first rodeo, and I shudder to think, 18 seasons in, what would have happened if just one of those guys might not have been a part of this beautiful, magical team. I hope you've enjoyed Survivor Tocantins behind the scenes main title. Hope you're enjoying the season.